Imagine this. One moment you're going about your day, perhaps checking your phone or walking down the street, and the next, a stranger is demanding your belongings. The terrifying reality of being the victim of a robbery is a scenario no one wants to face. When adrenaline surges, clear thinking becomes incredibly difficult, and survival instincts kick in. While law enforcement and safety experts widely advise complying with demands for property to avoid escalating violence, there's a critical layer to this advice. There are specific actions, or demands, that you should almost never agree to. Why? Because they dramatically increase your risk, turning a property crime into something far more sinister. This isn't professional security advice, but general safety information to help guide you in a moment of unimaginable stress. Your top priority, always, is your safety. The grave mistake. Moving to a secondary location, if a robber ever demands that you accompany them to another spot, whether it's their car, a secluded alley, or even just a different room, listen very carefully. You must resist this firmly if it's safely possible. This might mean yelling, drawing attention, or even running if you see a feasible escape route. Why is this so crucial? A secondary location immediately strips you of potential witnesses and drastically increases the likelihood of serious physical assault, sexual assault, or even abduction. Comply with demands for your wallet, your phone, or your bag right where you are. But moving locations? That's when your danger levels skyrocket. Your chances of survival are almost always better at the initial point of contact, where there might be hidden cameras, unexpected passersby, or at least a chance for others to notice something is wrong. The ultimate trap, getting in their vehicle, similar to the rule about secondary locations. You should never willingly get into a vehicle with your assailant. This is arguably the most dangerous demand a robber can make. Entering their vehicle completely isolates you. It grants them total, absolute control, making any escape attempts virtually impossible. This action exponentially increases your risk of being taken hostage, subjected to unspeakable acts, or worse. If you are being forced towards a vehicle, this is one of those dire moments where creating distance, running in the opposite direction, or causing a massive commotion, for instance, screaming fire at the top of your lungs, which often grabs more attention than help, might be incredibly risky, but could also be the only path to survival, far outweighing the near-certain danger of entering that confined space. Inviting disaster, letting them inside your home or office. Imagine being robbed outside your home or workplace. The absolute golden rule here is to never, under any circumstances, allow the robber inside your private space if you can possibly prevent it. Letting them cross that threshold grants them unrestricted access to potential hidden weapons within your own environment, exposes other potential victims like family members, children, or co-workers, and provides them with a secure, private location to commit further harm without any prying eyes or witnesses. If they demand your keys or wallet, drop them immediately outside, away from the door, but do everything in your power, short of lethal confrontation, to prevent them from stepping foot inside your personal sanctuary. Your home should remain your fortress, not a trap, blinding your chances. Agreeing to a blindfold. If a robber demands to blindfold you, this is a chilling signal that their intentions extend far beyond just taking your property. A blindfold is typically used to prevent you from identifying them later, especially if they plan to commit a more serious crime. It also facilitates moving you to another location without you knowing the route, further cementing their control. While the terror might be overwhelming, your ability to see provides absolutely crucial information about your immediate potential escape routes, and even the robber's actions or appearance. Resisting a blindfold, or finding a way to remove it if forced on you, even for a fleeting second, maintain some level of situational awareness. That visual information, however fragmented, is incredibly vital for making any desperate last-ditch survival decisions. Becoming helpless. Agreeing to be tied up, just like blindfolding. Being asked to allow yourself to be tied up is a terrifying escalation. Agreeing to this demand severely restricts your ability to escape, defend yourself, or even call for help if the situation moves beyond a simple robbery into physical assault or abduction. If a robber demands you allow yourself to be bound, this is a point where you must consider resisting if you can create any safe opportunity. Complying with this demand leaves you utterly helpless, completely at their mercy. This might, for some, be the critical turning point where physical resistance, if it is deemed survivable and offers even a minute chance of escape, becomes a grim but necessary consideration, weighing the immense risk of resisting against the almost certain danger of being completely incapacitated and vulnerable. The overcompliance trap, offering more than demanded. During a robbery where the assailant is clearly focused on acquiring property, your best course of action is to comply. Hand over your wallet, phone, or jewelry is demanded. However, a common mistake, often born of panic, is to volunteer additional items or information. Do not offer up your car keys if they only asked for your wallet. Do not suddenly reveal you have more valuables hidden at home, or offer access to bank accounts beyond what is immediately, explicitly demanded. Offering more than what is asked can sometimes make the robber suspicious, thinking you're trying to trick them. Or it might simply increase their demands, prolonging the dangerous interaction. Keep your compliance focused solely and precisely on what is explicitly requested to expedite the encounter and minimize any further engagement. Provide only what's absolutely necessary to satisfy the immediate demand and nothing more. The startling effect. Sudden movements in the throes of fear and surging adrenaline. Your natural inclination might be to react quickly or unpredictably. However, making sudden unannounced movements during a robbery can be incredibly dangerous. A nervous, agitated, or substance-impaired robber might misinterpret your quick action as a threat, potentially causing them to react violently, even if it was just an innocent reach for your wallet. If you need to access your belongings as demanded, clearly announce your intention calmly. Say something like, "Okay, I'm reaching into my pocket for my wallet now," or "I'm going to get my phone from my bag." Then, move slowly and deliberately, keeping your hands visible as much as humanly possible. Predictable. Transparent movements reduce the chance of the robber misinterpreting your actions as a challenge or an attack, helping to de-escalate their immediate tension. The calmer and more predictable you are, the better. The false assumption. Rationality or unarmed threat. It's a critical life-saving principle. Never assume the robber is rational or unarmed. Even if you don't immediately see a weapon, operate under the grim assumption that they may be carrying one. Furthermore, do not make the deadly mistake of assuming they are thinking logically, are not impaired by substances, or are mentally stable. These individuals are often desperate, under extreme stress, or acting impulsively. This means you should never try to reason with them, appeal to their conscience, or attempt to predict their behavior based on what you consider logical. Your entire interaction should be focused solely on immediate compliance with property demands and, above all else, ensuring your personal survival. Challenging them, or underestimating their capacity for violence, based on flawed assumptions about their rationality, is an extremely dangerous gamble that you simply cannot afford to take. The ultimate priority. Property over your personal safety. This is perhaps the most fundamental principle in any robbery scenario. Your wallet, your phone, your jewelry, your car. These are all replaceable. Your life is not. In almost every situation where a robbery is focused purely on acquiring property, compliance is the safest and most advised course of action. Do not resist, do not argue, and absolutely do not fight back over possessions. The risk of sustaining serious injury, or worse, death, far outweighs the monetary or sentimental value of any material item they are demanding. Your immediate goal should be to hand over the demanded property quickly and calmly, de-escalating the situation as rapidly as possible. Your primary objective is to end the encounter safely and survive it intact. Possessions can be recovered or replaced later. Your life cannot. The hero complex. Trying to fight back unless you are facing an immediate, undeniable, and unavoidable threat of death or severe bodily harm. For example, being forcefully pushed into a car or an imminent physical assault that follows compliance. Attempting to physically fight back against an armed or potentially armed robber is an extremely risky strategy. The vast majority of self-defense and law enforcement experts universally advise compliance in property-focused robberies, precisely because physical resistance drastically escalates the situation. It transforms a property crime into a violent confrontation, exponentially increasing your likelihood of sustaining serious injury, or worse. True survival in these moments often depends on strategic compliance and careful observation, not a desperate, impulsive physical confrontation. Of course, in situations where your life is directly threatened and compliance offers no escape, the calculus changes, and self-defense training, if applicable, becomes paramount. Your survival strategy, surviving a robbery, while terrifying, often hinges on a few core principles. Staying as calm as humanly possible, complying quickly and completely with demands for property, and, most crucially, vehemently resisting any attempt to move you to a secondary location or to physically incapacitate you. Do not escalate the situation through any form of verbal or physical confrontation over material possessions. If it's safe to do so, try to observe details about the robber and your surroundings, without making direct, challenging eye contact. Your overarching goal is singular: to end the interaction as quickly and safely as possible, ensuring your survival. Remember these critical boundaries. Never go elsewhere, never get into a vehicle, and never let them inside your private space. Prioritize your life and your well-being above all else. This advice focuses on in-the-moment survival during a robbery. What other personal safety precautions do you regularly take to stay safe in your daily life? Share your thoughts and experiences on staying safe below.